Greetings and salutations, listeners. I, Eric J. Chucky, joined, as always, by the boy. This is the Two Nerds Podcast. Today we're talking about rogues.
Rogues! Woo! You want to know something funny, listener? Stumbled over the word listener like I haven't been saying it for fucking 7 years.
Just the 7? You hadn't used it before, roughly 2 years before we started the podcast?
No, I never said it once in my whole life.
Oh, interesting.
Not even when I was playing Oblivion. No, you may have, if you are a dedicated listener to this particular part of our podcast, you may have noticed several times I have mentioned that when we get to Rogue, I have some opinions. Well, we're at Rogue. And it turns out I don't really have those opinions anymore. My opinions have been changed by watching more Rogues in action, which is very neat.
And I think it's worth commenting on, basically. Well, why don't you share your original opinion, and we can dissect it and talk about how wrong you are.
Sounds great. So for a long time, I thought Rogue was one of the more undertuned classes in 5e, even more so than Ranger, because so much of their damage as a class, and since they are largely a DPS class, so much of their utility to a party is bound up in hitting their one opportunity to attack with a couple different conditions, which can be kind of bothersome to meet. Not super bothersome, but kind of bothersome. But unlike so many other classes where they have options to support and assist the party if they're just not having a good day for melee attacks, rogues really don't. And that bothered me for a while, because I'd had a couple situations where rogues had missed, and that's just their turn wasted. And over the course of several, if it happens several times in a combat, it starts to feel bad. But having actually gotten my hands in and having DM'd for a rogue up through higher levels, and having been in a party with a rogue up through higher levels, I think I just didn't see the class get underway yet. I think they're one of the more scaling classes in 5e. It takes them a little longer to get off the ground. But once they're off the ground, they work just fine.
I don't even necessarily know that that's the case, depending on the subclass and the game. Rogue, I think, with their subclasses are very specialized. And that especially comes
That's entirely fair, yeah.
Yeah, rogues get ridiculous bonuses to skills naturally, and they are ridiculously mobile, and they are incredibly defensive. Whereas one tends to think of the rogue, either classically through D&D itself or through other mediums like video games, as the high melee DPS and not really anything else.
But in 5e, and in previous editions of D&D too, but 5e does a good job of getting this across. If you're in the right kind of campaign, rogues would shine a lot better.
And that's the situation for a lot of their subclasses too. Like,
now, that's not to say that all rogue subclasses would shine equally well in the same kind of campaign. There are different types of rogue which do better in different types of campaign.
Precisely the point I was trying to make. But honestly, rogue's biggest benefit is their cunning action.
Their biggest benefit at low levels, yeah.
Yeah, and a bit of a trick to their stuff is how their sneak attack works. Because I know a lot of my agreement with your opinion, which fell off for me a long time before yours finally did, but relatively speaking, was that they get their sneak attack bonus against a target who is within 5 feet of a friend of theirs who isn't incapacitated or dead. Now, I thought you just had to have advantage, and in 5th edition, where it's
kind of rare,
it's not as easy to get advantage. I was like, oh, so your rogue is garbage or has to be hidden. If you're happening to fight in an open field, you're fucked as a rogue. Not so.
No. The 5-foot rule, as it were, it does help a lot, but it can be bothersome to finagle that around, especially because, as a rogue, you don't have good hit points.
They're not the best.
And you don't have good armor. And you probably have a really high dex, but there's only so much you can do with that in 5e without getting magical armor. So your AC is probably high midland, and your hit points are, unless you invest in like some feats or some other things, probably not great. So always being up in the grill of melee can be a problem. And if you're ranged, by contrast, then if you're the kind of rogue who uses a bow typically, that incentivizes the enemy to try and close with you, which cunning action helps with.
Sure, because you're always going to be able to leave. You can disengage as a bonus action. You can dash as a bonus action. Effectively, any rogue has 60 feet of movement a turn.
Even if they're in a threatened area, provided they're willing to take an opportunity attack.
Sure.
And if you don't want that, you trade in 30 feet of your movement for no opportunity attack, please.
Yes. I have played around a lot with the functionality of a rogue's cunning action, and boy, it
makes you very mobile.
Yeah. Even the hide action, which if you hide properly and manage to avoid being detected, and you have places to hide, that gives you advantage on your attacks.
Not always an option, but
Not always, no.
But in the situation when it is. That was the crux of my issue with Rogue, is that it always is that caveat. In the situation where one of your features is useful, yeah, you're doing well.
But it's one of those things where you have enough features that you're really going to be in the minority, or your DM is working against you, or your party refuses to cooperate, or you're refusing to cooperate. Unless you're playing a solo campaign where you're a rogue, there is one other motherfucker on that battlefield. Hit the guy he's hitting. I mean, and if you go ranged, it's honestly, like, even better. Like, Rogue has really become a ranged, beneficial class. There are a couple of variants that do better at melee.
Yeah. For instance, Swashbuckler does really well at melee.
Swashbuckler and Soul Knife.
And the big thing about Rogue, for me, is... The big thing about the subclasses is all of them basically go, alright, so here's how you make sure you get your sneak attack as a Rogue.
Yeah. Or they shore up things so much more in other areas that your sneak attack isn't as important.
Or they shore up your ability to do other things well enough that you feel more well-rounded.
Versatility is the name of the game for the rogue, and that's why I changed my ranger from a full ranger to a ranger rogue.
It's all the skills, and it's...
Just all the options of what you can do in combat.
The various options you have. And something that you mentioned that I think bears repeating is the base skeleton, as I have come to call it for the class. The chassis is very defensive, which really helps mitigate the kind of shit hit die and medium armor that I believe specifically that you have available to you.
I believe they start with light, actually.
Did I have medium proficiency?
Nope, leather armor.
Yeah, okay, there we go. So
light.
I was even overshooting it. So you have like the worst option for armor besides not.
But you've got the high dex, and like pretty much anything except a breastplate above that is going to negate your dex bonus.
Yeah, pretty much, and that's what I mean. Thus, your ability to get to the really high ACs is kind of limited.
You're probably going to cap out around 17 or 18.
And that's if you're really trying for it.
Yeah.
But...
Well, Rogue also has the benefit of, like, being a dex class. Melee or ranged, you are a dex-based class.
Which is just A+. That is... I think dex-based class is probably the best class in 5th edition in general.
It's the meta, and a lot of people complain about it because strength used to be the god king, and now it's not anymore. But dex is your AC, dex is your initiative, dex is one of the two main saves, and, you know, it can be for your attacks, too.
A dex-based class is just real good, to be perfectly honest. And they have the benefit from that. And all of the defensive options and mobility options they have help shore up the weaknesses in your AC and hit point and hit dice pool.
Yeah. I can't tell you how many times in the last couple of months that our rogues have gotten to those levels that, you know, breath weapons and fireballs and what have you occur and nothing happens to them.
I passed my save. Fuck your fireball. How about that?
Yeah.
How about eat a dick? Because dex saves are the main save for area of effect spells.
Yeah.
You run into a couple wisdom, a couple con, but...
Wisdom's usually over, like, mental stuff, and they do get wisdom training for free, so that at later levels, at 15th, I think. That's nice.
Slippery mind, it's called.
And they have also elusive you don't have attack rolls don't have advantage against you unless you're incapacitated. That's at 18th level. That's after your subclass capstone.
Yeah, and I also really like, and this is something that now that we're further down the list, I can say, I kind of really like it when the subclass capstone is separate from the class capstone.
Sure, that it's not like at 20th level or whatever.
Yeah.
I think they're balanced out like that so that you rarely get both at the same time. And I'm not sure there's a class
you never get both. If the 20th level capstone is from your subclass, you don't get anything from your class.
Right.
And it's 6 of one, half a dozen of another, but I like it because it allows you to complete the archetype of whatever you are before 20th level, because so few campaigns are ever going to get to 20th level.
That being said, Rogue multi-classes really well with other melee or other martial classes.
And their capstone is it's not bad.
But it's also fantastic.
It's a good capstone, but it's also easily pass-upable for a couple levels in Fighter.
Well, and your campaign's probably not going to get to level 20. If you think it's going to get to level 20, by all means, level that rogue to 20.
That's a general rule. If you think your campaign is going to get to 20, you're almost always beneficial to single class it, because those capstones are real good.
Druid.
Yeah, never multi-class a druid. Just don't bother.
Oh, no. Why? Unless you are just committed to animal form. Unless that's your thing. What the fuck is the point?
Archdruid is amazing, and I'll hear nothing against it.
But anyway, and there's some paladin final forms. They're little I'm an angel or whatever things that are like, I mean, they're fine.
Yeah.
But you might be getting some more use out of a level or two of another class.
But my general advice is, if you actually believe it's going to get to level 20, single class it. Otherwise, if there's nothing story-wise or character-wise that says you wouldn't multi-class, there's nothing stopping you, because you're not going to get those capstones anyway.
They're attractive, beautiful, glimmering jewels, but
they are the oasis in the desert, and sometimes it's a mirage.
Forever out of our reach. I do want to quickly mention the aim cunning action that was added in by the Unearthed Arcana.
I fucking love this. I thought it might be a little OP when I first read it, because, but being as I thought Rogue was undertuned at the time, I was like, do it anyway, I don't care. But I don't like all of the things that Unearthed Arcana added, but I love this.
I only hate proficiency versatility because it makes it hard to look things up on the 5e tools.
Some of them are time for another day, as it were.
Yeah, I reading more into them, I'm not as mad about them as I originally was, but
they're mostly around other classes, not Rogue.
Yeah.
But I love aim, the cunning action aim. If you don't move, you can take your bonus action and then just give yourself advantage. That is nice, because it removes so much stress, because then you have, if you want to stick and move and juke and jive, you can do that. But if you don't need to, you have a reliable way to get your sneak attack off.
Yes. And if you're in the middle of an open field and the rest of your group refuses to be in melee for some reason, you can still manage sneak attack. So let's get on to the subclasses.
One more thing about the chassis that I wanted to talk about.
Oh, yeah, please do.
Reliable talent is A+ top tier shit.
It's a nice way to separate the difference between Bard and Rogue. I love that the Bard is good at a couple of things, and the Rogue is really good at especially things. Yeah.
And then the Rogue is fucking really good at the things it's good at.
Yeah. I like that a lot. The jack of all trades versus reliable talent is exceptional. Anything else?
Nope.
All right, subclasses. First of all, thanks for bringing back the Acrobat.
Yeah, it's super undertuned, but it's nice that it's there.
I don't know, man. Like,
it's all movement-based powers, honestly. It might be fine in terms of mechanical balance, but it just feels super underwhelming.
So here's the thing, and that's basically all rogues. Basically all rogue subclasses. There's a couple that are like universally applicable, but if your DM is using a lot of grapplers, if your DM tends to use monsters that snare you and trap you, freedom of fucking movement is constantly in effect on you at what?
14th level.
14th level, yeah. I mean, that's high fucking level, but let's take a look here.
13th level. But yeah, and that's really nice. Don't get me wrong. It's one of those things that's a great ability to have, But you need to act like a rogue and do some fucking research into your DM's DMing style before you pick your rogue archetype.
Sure.
If you want to succeed, because that in the right campaign is amazing, but in a lot of other campaigns, almost all of Acrobat is next to useless.
It makes you fast. You don't take the falling damage. It's one of those things where you're probably going to want to have a DM that you DM'd with a lot, or you've done a session 0 to know that Acrobat Rogue is a good choice. And it's not even... it was done on a stream,
yeah,
so...
It's not even like a real thing. It's probably someone was firing shit off the top of their head. That's what I assume those streams are.
Sure.
Because I've never watched one. But, I'm gonna be real. As a DM, some of that is on you. Some of that is looking at the kind of rogue your rogue is.
Definitely.
And giving them the opportunity to be cool. But...
if your person looks at an acrobat and goes, man, all this sounds cool, I can kind of fly. That's free running.
That's Dick Grayson.
Yeah. I want to play
Assassin's Creed. That's Ezio Auditore.
Yeah, this sounds awesome. Then you enable that. You give them situations where their little jumpy flight is great. Oh, you guys are coming down a roaring river. Oh, you get knocked off the boat. That's fine. You can jump on all these rocks that are just jutting out from the river as the rest of your team is racing through on a boat and you're hopping after them like a madman. How awesome.
Did you mean to come up with a scene from literally The Hobbit?
Well, they didn't hop. They fell in barrels. What are you talking about? Oh, he wasn't there at that point, was he?
Or it was either him or the fake elf.
Maybe a fake elf. I don't know. It's been a long time since I've read The Hobbit.
No, not read. The movie.
I've forgotten about them entirely.
Oh, okay, fair enough. No, that didn't happen in the books. No, I'm talking about the movie.
No, I've forgotten about most of those movies, except for...
I mean, but to be fair, Acrobat, excellent way of doing Legolas running up a series of rocks that are falling down and utterly defying gravity. Sure. He can fly. Fuck you. How about that?
He's an acrobat, sorry. Or anything of the like, a dense cityscape, whatever
Yeah, if you want to be Robin, this is a great way to do it.
Fantastic. Now, I will not say it's the most, powerful rogue class.
No, it's not. It's not. I will fight you.
Arcane Trickster. Every class needs a arcane variant, and this is rogues.
Basically, arcane variant, divine variant, rogue variant are the three.
There's nature variant, and then there's fighter variant.
Sometimes you get nature, sometimes you get fighter. No, the other martial classes get fighter. The other kind of nature-y classes get nature sometimes. But arcane variant is really popular. Divine variant is really popular. Rogue variant is really popular.
Sure.
There is a rogue variant rogue. We'll get there.
We will. I like the Arcane Trickster. I think both the Arcane Trickster and the Eldritch Knight are really solid. Your martial class can use magic subclasses. I think they do cool shit. The ability to distract people with your rogue mage hand.
I think some of the arcane, the Eldritch Knight's restrictions are dumb, and thus have removed them.
Well, but so the thing is with both of those classes, as I've always understood it, and I'll double check here, it's just the first couple spells you learn that have that restriction. So I don't even know why they...
I don't even think the Arcane Trickster has that restriction at all.
Oh, no, it does. It's enchantment and illusion.
Oh.
So actually, no, Arcane Trickster has that for everything else. Yeah, it must be an enchantment or illusion spell.
I believe the Eldritch Knight is the same.
Maybe you're right.
I have removed those. That's dumb. No. That's a rule that I'm going to house rule away for all time forever.
And I feel like that's a leftover from PHB reluctance to
cool.
Give power. Yeah.
Yeah, if Arcane Trickster got remade, I guarantee that restriction wouldn't be there.
Yeah. That's one part of it. But that's what house rules are for, precisely. Yeah. Like 3rd edition and how everything gave you an opportunity attack.
Yep. Some of the stuff in Arcane Trickster hasn't aged super well. For instance, Versatile Trickster is...
It's great.
Read it again. It's just aim.
It's aim, but you get to move.
Right. Is that worth a 13th level class feature?
And it also gives you advantage on attack rolls against the creature until the end of the turn instead of just your next attack on this turn. So if you're a melee rogue and you arcane trickster your mage hand behind them and you distract them, you can attack them and deal a bunch of damage. If they try to move away from you, you still have advantage on the attack. Or if you're at 13th level, you've got 7 other levels you can use. If you've multi-classed into fighter or ranger and have extra attacks, you have advantage on both of those attacks.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of a niche. That's kind of a niche usage.
I agree.
It's just the existence of the aim.
Sure.
Unearthed Arcana has really sucked a lot of the utility out of that, and you'll see that happen a couple times throughout Rogue.
Well, and you know, it's one of those things as well where we talk a lot about Unearthed Arcana. We allow, so long as it's fucking published, or if we read it and it doesn't look too broken, do whatever the hell you want. But in, you know, more organized D&D circles, they don't let you use that Unearthed Arcana shit. It's book or nothing. So for people who don't have access to the cunning action aim, it's still a really solid one.
Oh yeah, that's the thing that's what I mean by it hasn't aged well. It's a great feature,
yeah,
but it just hasn't aged super well. When again we look back at PHB and earlier parts of 5th edition's sort of reluctance to allow people to excel.
I understand why they don't, but I wish they do a lot more in the way of like patches.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's Wizards of the Coast. I don't understand why they don't. Please buy the new book. Patch notes are updated. Another $50, please.
It does kind of sound like that.
Yeah, what the fuck? Wizards, what are you doing? Leaving money on the table here. Of course, I would assume they'd supply these patches in PDFs for those who don't want to buy another book. But come on, there's enough of us out there who would be like, well, now I gotta buy the new one. It's got all the new patches in it, and my Ranger's finally good.
It's just Games Workshop.
Yeah,
Updated codex.
Yeah, what the hell?
Spell Thief, however, is super cool.
Cool as heck.
Like, there's not really much else to say. It's just super cool.
Yeah.
It's a super cool feature. It's a super cool thing to have access to.
Let's roll on to Assassin. Assassin. I have mixed feelings about Assassin.
Same. Assassin is one of those types of rogue that you absolutely should talk with your DM before playing. And not because it's evil, but because it'd be real easy for your DM to accidentally fuck you out of ever feeling cool as an assassin.
Yeah, basically. If your DM doesn't do surprise or doesn't remember to or whatever, because I know I forget about surprise a lot.
Same. I'm same. But that's the thing is I can, as a DM, I look at assassin and go, I would have to, if someone's going to play an assassin, I want that, I need to know that because I need to work to make the campaign something where an assassin is going to prosper. Because I want all my players to feel cool, and it's real easy for you to fuck up an initiative roll and the other players accidentally fuck up your ability to be cool.
Right.
It's just, it is, in its niche, it is one of the ones that's more niche. In its niche, it is A+ out the gate for like an intrigue campaign.
Sure.
It and Mastermind and like there are other types of rogue that would do well. Assassin for like a campaign that is like maybe a smaller amount of players who are doing their own thing. It would shine so well and it's so useful.
Yeah.
But outside its niche, it is really easy to suck.
Well, and I think even if you as the player and you as the DM, you know, these both of these entities within the game do their best to give the assassin opportunities to shine. You know, the assassin player is doing their best to get the drop on people, and the DM is remembering surprise.
And remembering to give them situations where their infiltration expertise is useful to them.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what I was getting to, is that, like, compared to previous versions of the Assassin, and don't get me wrong, I think the way they handle Assassinate and then the 17th level Capstone are phenomenal. Best version of that I've seen.
Oh yeah, same. I entirely agree. Especially that Capstone.
Yeah. Doubling your damage, because that doesn't sound like a whole lot until you
realize that if you've assassinated someone, it's an auto crit.
Yes, so you're doubling whatever your crit sneak attack at 17th level is.
So they're dead. They're dead.
Fucking dead.
They're dead, though.
But it's paired with infiltration expertise, which lets you establish, you know, a fake identity.
Which, lets you be the saint. That's a cool thing to be able to be.
And imposter that brings that up better. That gives you more abilities around that.
Honestly, the two of them together do feel a little overlappy to me.
Well, there's that, and it's also like, okay, I want to play a fucking assassin. But, like, there's that fantasy gaming concept of the assassin where you're the cool guy in black who kills people, and then there's the real-world concept of assassin where you're on a tall building somewhere and they thought you were their secretary until you snipe them from 1,000 yards away.
That's more the movie concept. The real world concept of assassin is, I've filled an umbrella with cyanide. Let's go.
Sure. I understand why they're trying to put them together, but it turns what could just be I want to be a real damage rogue boy into, well, for the bulk of your class, the abilities you get are put on fancy hat, convince someone that you are Hat Man.
Especially at 9th level. If there's a spell, this imposter and infiltration expertise and the race changeling existing, really take a dump on those class features in the first place.
Sure. A lot of people, even if they allow Unearthed Arcana and other shit, disallow changelings because that can be kind of troublesome.
So it being one of the PHB ones, especially, probably did a lot for me to make me go at Rogue to start, because it's just not one of the better designed ones, even though the core, Assassinate and the Capstone, are really good.
Honestly, I would have separated these out into two different classes, and Inquisitive and Mastermind here have a lot of those effects too.
I would separate that into Assassin and Imposter.
Sure, yeah, that would be great. Give Assassins some small things where maybe once per long or short rest they can cause a target to be surprised again.
A bonus to initiative.
Yeah, that too.
Advantage on initiative checks like the Barbarian gets.
Sure.
Just something to let them actually fucking go first so that they can do the thing they're for.
Yeah. Honestly, there's your two abilities. Yeah, the fucking 9th level one, you double your dex bonus and have advantage on your initiative checks.
You're gonna go first.
The 13th level one, once per short or long rest, you can make a check, or they have to make a save against your whatever, and they're surprised again.
For your next attack, they count as if they were surprised.
Yep. That's, bam, done. Assassin better. You heard it right here on the Two Nerds, not live stream. Let's roll into Inquisitive. Inquisitive if you're a certain kind of person.
That's just a joke that's going to play with half our audience. I was going to say like 3 people, but that's half our audience. But it's Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, and it does Sherlock Holmes really well. It also is the anti-illusion. Once again, if you know how your DM rolls, if they love illusions and you fucking tired of them, play yourself an Inquisitive.
No, fuck you. I know there's invisible people nearby. I know that's fake. Fuck you. Fuck you, Bill. Agreed. It does an excellent job at giving you a tool set to play the world's greatest detective.
Now, outside of that niche, I don't think Inquisitive is very good.
I disagree. Insightful fighting is an excellent core feature that makes it very easy to guarantee your sneak attack.
With sneak attack being as easy as it is to get, unless you're in a small party, where it becomes very useful. And by small party, I mean like 3 or less, honestly 2.
I was thinking specifically of an Inquisitive Rogue in a 2-person party that I played the other person.
Fantastic choice there. Nothing wrong with that choice there. That is
AIM being here now makes that less necessary. This is again one of those times where AIM has sucked some of the utility out of a class, out of a subclass.
And you can fix that pretty easily by maybe giving them some extra damage on the attack or an extra sneak attack die, just one from insightful fighting at 3rd level. But regardless, it's easy enough to get your sneak attack in most 3+ party situations where that's kind of unnecessary. And then if illusions aren't a big deal or noticing stuff isn't a big deal, that 9th and 13th level shit, it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, I would say the Capstone makes it all kind of worth it.
Capstone's sexy. It's 3d6 extra damage on your sneak attack when you have insightful fighting on a guy. That's fine, but it's at 17th fucking level.
Yeah, and that's, again, if most campaigns don't make it to 20, not many more make it to 17.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I agree that it's one of those ones that outside of its niche, it's the same problem that Assassin has, minus that it's well constructed. It is really good at its niche, and all of it fits thematically, but still, if you're outside the niche, where Sherlock Holmes, if you're not playing a campaign that Sir Arthur Conan Doyle could have written, you're not gonna see like the absolute best returns out of this.
Yeah. Now, of course, by all means, when we say things like this and we're like, this is suboptimal, that doesn't mean you can't play this, it's dumb, and your friends should make fun of you if you do.
I almost always play suboptimal things.
Fucking go off. I don't care. But just, be aware.
I'm speaking as a mechanic here.
Yeah.
As someone who looks at the bits and the bobs and the gears and the wheels and goes, suboptimal.
Right. And I mean, let's be real, you're already putting this on top of the Rogue. It's just that there's
Yeah, this is already on a real good chassis. Rogue is great. Rogue has a good chassis.
You have a heater already. You're fine. You're warm. You don't need a blanket, but the blanket would be cool.
Yeah.
Let's get into Mastermind, which has some thematic overlap with Inquisitive. They're basically the
Two
Moriarty
sides,
to the Sherlock, really.
That's a real good way of putting it. They have a really clean version of the Warlord 4th edition mechanic.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Fucking 3rd level, too.
They probably have the cleanest version in 5e.
Help action as a bonus action. And you can do it within 30 feet.
That's just the cleanest version of that exists in 5e. It makes me want to play a Mastermind Rogue just for that. Just for that.
Don't lie to the people. Don't lie to the people. This is what makes you want to play.
Yeah, it is. He highlighted the capstone. Hey, by the way, have you figured out what the former governor of that city was yet?
Yeah, I see that there.
Aren't you glad you never actually attacked him?
Nah, we could have taken.
You were level 7. He would have eaten you alive.
He would have had to get sneak attack, and he didn't have any friends to be within 5 feet of us.
And you know what? This was pre-aim, and the Mastermind really doesn't have a way to guarantee that.
Not really, no. Also, who's he gonna have help him? Yeah, he's fucked. He would have been fucked.
There's a reason he didn't attack you.
Yeah. All personal stories aside, although now I'm sure there's plenty of people going, I want to know about this guy.
There's like 6 of you. Put it in the comments. We'll tell you.
Yeah, fuck it. Whatever. We'll sit down and record a bonus 2 Nerds podcast if you care. In 20 minutes, and we'll talk about that. But it's a great way to find out stuff about your enemies. It is a great way to have other people hit you. I want to play a melee Mastermind at level 13, get in the middle of the fracas, and just throw a guy's own dudes at him.
I mean, yeah. Honestly, again, Soul of Deceit is the capstone. It basically means you can lie to whoever you want. They're basically never going to be able to tell you're lying. And even if you're in the I hate this spell zone of truth, you're gonna lie. You can just lie. You can just lie directly to the person who's doing the zone of truth, and they can't tell. That's really fun. But to be honest, I would multi-class this.
Yeah.
I would multi-class Mastermind Fighter.
Oh hell yeah, that'd be great.
Or just that to give you that beat. Just take a couple levels of Mastermind to get to master of tactics, and then do the rest as a tactician fighter, as like that basic PHB maneuvers fighter.
I mean, you can even get to all the way to 13th level. A 13th level could be your capstone, I should say, maybe. And mix that with some wizard. Get yourself some mirror image and other similar...
Just ways to make yourself a little beefier and harder to kill so that you can wade into melee as the general.
And throw guys into the way to take the damage for you.
Yeah, that's nice.
It's awesome. I like Mastermind a lot. Let's slide over to Revived, which I have played and will be playing again soon. Revived has died, and now they're back.
This is a real weird one.
It's not so much niche in utility, because its sheer versatility is its utility, so it can do whatever it needs to do. But it is super niche in what it is.
Yeah, it has real niche fluff, but it is probably the most versatile rogue.
Yeah.
Just by a country mile.
Part of my problem with playing a Ranger was, with the revised Ranger, a lot of their ability is like... You don't do anything. It just happens. You're ignoring difficult terrain, and you're doing a lot of the...
It's buffs to your base stats, not abilities.
Right. And it doesn't feel good when you're in a situation and you would like to do something to help, but the thing you know how to do is kill a motherfucker from 600 feet away, and that's not applicable for whatever reason.
So he reworked the character into a revived. The character died and then came back as a revived rogue / ranger hybrid, and because revived rogue is the most versatile rogue, and it has the absolute best way to make sure you get your sneak attack.
It's a cool way.
It is literally just you get your sneak attack. Once a turn, if you haven't used your sneak attack, you use your sneak attack. It just guarantees it.
It's nice, too, because what it is bolts from the grave. You use your cunning action, and as part of your cunning action, you make an attack against a creature in 30 feet. If you hit, you do your sneak attack damage, plus your dex bonus as necrotic damage.
So you get your sneak attack bonus.
Yeah, and it's necrotic damage.
It's nice, it's reliable, it's necrotic damage, so it goes past damage reduction, and it's cool as shit, and that's not something that you shouldn't consider. You should consider the fact that it's dope.
Because I started out as a ranger who uses a bow, now that I'm back from the dead, I will throw ghost arrows of the shots I have missed at my enemies, and I feel fucking awesome when they land.
It's cool as shit, dude.
I'm really psyched about it. But basically, they wake up every day and have some different skill options. They can basically take any skill option. They get an ability to speak with dead and learn
they get
languages
bonuses from speaking with the dead.
They get advantage on death saves at 13th level, and after they come back, they can reset their shit again.
And while you're dying, you get to talk to death and ask him questions.
And then they get to teleport at 17th level, which isn't huge, but it's pretty fucking good.
I mean, honestly, the capstone is only okay here, but the rest of it is so cool that it's clear they just power balanced up.
Sure, yeah. You get your power front-ended instead of back-ended.
Which is good, because a lot of Rogue is back-ended.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have some of that shit up top for a change.
I like it. Anything else to say about it?
No, it's great.
Scout seems quiet, seems why am I not playing a ranger, until you get to the capstone.
Yeah, Sudden Strike is legit.
So, like, you get faster, you get nature and survival skills, and you get expertise in them. This gives you advantage on initiative. Okay. I
was going to mention that.
Yeah. 17th level, you get Sudden Strike.
Parts of Scout are actually a better done assassin.
Yeah, they are.
I would take out... If you just took out the survival shit and plopped in assassin shit and remixed it a little bit, you could also fix assassin by doing that.
Yeah, honestly, take out Skirmisher and Survivalist. Skirmisher lets you move some portion of your speed as a reaction. Half your speed as a reaction. And it doesn't provoke opportunity attacks.
Yeah. Take out Skirmisher and Survivalist, pop in Assassinate, and keep Sudden Strike as the capstone instead of the Assassin capstone.
Or switch them, whichever.
Yeah, or switch them.
Up to you.
Switch them out, and you could fix Assassin that way.
Yeah.
Parts of this are just better made Assassin.
Superior mobility being less like, oh, you're so fleet of foot, and more you can Michael Myers stalk people now. Every time they turn around.
It does say your walking speed increases by 10 feet. I know that's just the 5e term for it, but...
This could be my next character. But anyway, Sudden Strike.
He is an ambush master.
He is an ambush master. If you attack, you can make an additional attack as a bonus action. This attack can benefit from your sneak attack, even if you've already used it, but you can't use it against the same target more than once in a turn.
So you can't double sneak attack one dude, but you can sneak attack two people, and you're a 17th level rogue. That is such a boost to your DPS.
Yeah.
It is probably the most powerful rogue capstone. In terms of...
Thief.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember what Thief's capstone is.
Well, we're about to roll into Thief. Did you have anything else to say about Scout?
It's not flashy, but it's great.
Thief's actually the last one. We have Soul Knife and Swashbuckler. Soul Knife's got a fucking good capstone, too. Yeah, Scout is really underwhelming at first, but when you read into it, mechanically, great.
Not flashy, just a...
Kind of like Hunter Ranger. Yeah. There's not a lot of bombast there, but it's solid.
Just a solid rogue. It's not the rogue variant rogue. The rogue variant rogue is Thief, just so we're clear.
Soul Knife is the psychic rogue.
Can I just take a moment to say that I really fucking love the 5e implementation of psionics so far?
Yeah.
It's just neat. They managed to make it not arcane magic, but with a funny hat. They managed to make it feel noticeably different, and I really like that.
Now, we are speaking of the class variants, not the Mystic class. We didn't... Well, whatever.
We're going through the PHB first. We might get to those other ones at some point.
I would rather... Every time I try to look at Mystic, I go, I don't understand what's going on here. And I have to leave. It's like a weird...
I like the psychic variants of the regular classes.
Yeah, I will agree with that 110%. I'm playing a psychic warrior and in a little side game, and one of our players, one of your players, in our big main
is a soul knife.
Is a soul knife.
And it's a 15th level soul knife at this point, for crap's sake. It's so cool. It's so cool.
Great fluff features with the ability to speak telepathically. You get the 5 feet extra movement speed. That's awesome.
The ability to just fucking vanish into thin fucking air like a scary horror villain.
Furthermore, you get to scare people and make them frightened if you hit with your
this
attacks.
this is not the Michael Myers. This is the Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
You summon knives in your hands and you turn invisible and terrify people as a class feature.
That level 17 capstone, though, you sweep your psychic blade directly through a creature's mind. They make a save.
A high one if you've done your job right. And then they're fucking stunned. 12d6 damage, which is good. Don't get me wrong, that's a lot of damage. But then they're stunned until your next turn, at which point you do it again because you can do it your int modifier times per day. That is just, hi, I've seen your boss. I've elected to fuck them.
Stunned gives everybody advantage against attacking them.
Yeah,
and
it basically fucking it is you win this fight. Like, if you have a 4-person party and you give all of them advantage to hit and the guy can't do anything, there aren't a lot of bosses that are going to survive that fucking gangland beatdown.
I think if this went to book, if they didn't rework it entirely, they would mention that creatures who can't be charmed might not take the
because it doesn't mention that right now.
Sure doesn't.
Only creatures who are immune to this are creatures who are straight up immune to being stunned, and there aren't that many of those. Just so we're clear, I've looked it up for reasons.
This is what the assassin, like power-wise, what I think a lot of people, myself included, expect out of the assassin. To just be able to walk up and
feels like a cool assassin.
Hell yeah.
You turn invisible, you're hard to find, you slide up to a motherfucker, you summon a knife from nowhere and just gut him. That feels cool. That feels like a cool thing to do. And also, it is Unearthed Arcana, so some of it would have to get retooled if it went to a book.
Yeah, I agree. Little overtuned, but not so much that it's like broken.
Little overtuned, but a great choice for making a character for a high level game where everyone else has like the built up magic items and shit like that.
It's the difference between raising a Pokemon from low levels and getting one at high levels.
Exactly.
And you've made a good choice and chosen a legendary one. Swashbuckler. This is the duelist.
This is your 1v1 me scrub.
Yeah,
rogue.
But combined with, a swashbuckler, the panache, the bard rogue, as it were.
This is your Errol Flynn, your Zorro.
Yeah. They got the weird charm thing with panache.
No, it fits. It fits the thing they're trying to be.
Yeah,
it's Jack Sparrow.
I get it. I mean, maybe.
Like, this isn't my... Alright, so the problem here is this isn't my bag. I like these characters, I don't like playing them.
Sure, same. I have no desire to be this person.
So, I can't really attach to this. But it's really good at doing it. If you're the kind of person who wants to be fucking Zorro, or wants to be Captain Jack Sparrow, this is a good way to accomplish that, man.
Also, 17th level capstone goes really well with 20th level rogue capstone. Master Duelist, if you miss with an attack roll, you can roll it again with advantage. Once you do so, you can't do that until you finish a short or long rest. That gives you that many more opportunities to guarantee a hit along with the rogue capstone.
Yep. Agreed.
It's pretty nice. And the middle level stuff is okay.
Most of the rogue subclasses, their middle level stuff is only okay. Some of them are exceptions, but that's true of most of them.
Yeah. And this was PHB, so, this is, again, following a specific trend.
This is older, you can tell. Power creep is a thing.
But we arrive at the Thief.
Thief is your rogue variant rogue. It is the roguest rogue to rogue. It is 2nd edition. You are a thief. Congratulations.
Roll your percentile die and never fail. You can use cunning action to make sleight of hand checks, or use your thieves' tools, or use an object, like with certain magic items and stuff.
Which is cool. Use an object like drink a potion. Mm-hmm. So you can drink a potion as a bonus action. If the thief I play with wasn't in a party with me, a dedicated healer, that would be very useful.
Hell yeah. You
get a climb speed, although they decided to write it weird.
Yeah. They've fixed that in later editions. Get advantage on dex checks if you move no more than half your speed on the same turn.
Yep.
Stealth checks, I should say, not dex checks. So that gives you that guaranteed sneaks. Not guaranteed.
You are the roguest rogue.
You're stealthy.
You are the rogue 2.0.
They have used magic device,
rogue.
and I like that. I kind of don't understand why Arcane Trickster doesn't have that.
Arcane Trickster should have used magic device.
Yeah.
Let's be real with one another.
But I get why
because it'd be
split
too
up.
much power on top of them already getting fucking wizard spells.
Yeah.
Is the reason. And use magic device being a rogue thing is a pretty common thing. And it going on to roguest rogue thereby makes sense.
I agree. At the end of the day, I agree with the decision, but come on. And then let's talk about
Holy
17th
shit!
level.
I just read this.
You get 2 turns.
No, I maintain that the other one is stronger because this is only during the first round.
That's true. During the first round of any combat, you do get 2 turns.
Now, for that round, congratulations. Whoever you're fighting loses. But I maintain that Scout's Capstone is better overall.
I think, depending on what you do with your turns.
Yeah, like, it's one of those things where the wizard has cast Time Stop. I have so many options in front of me.
Or, good God, you take your first turn. Shit. Don't have advantage on initiative checks. Aim for a low initiative. Don't spec into it. I mean, you got a high dex, but, like, whatever. Let that wizard go first. Let that wizard cast haste on you. Enjoy your 4 turns.
Murder, 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 everyone.
And speaking as somebody who is in a party with a thief rogue that's going to be getting to level 20, and we have a Horizon Walker Ranger who knows how to cast haste.
Best of luck for your bosses.
Yeah, fuck it.
So I've this has really turned around from how I expected this podcast to go, and we have gone quite long. Because I wanted to heap some praise on this because I kind of been throwing shade at Rogue throughout the various other classes podcasts.
Ironically, and it makes sense, but like I think we've just gotten so much better at like going into details and having fun with the concepts in this podcast since when we started doing this version of the podcast, the classes, that we just run a little long because we know what to say.
Yep. But with that said, now that we've gone over all of them, I'm gonna. Usually, you're the master of ceremonies on this, but I'm gonna let you go first.
Yeah.
What's your favorite subclass?
That's hard to say. And as we said at the top of the show, that's partially because they're all very specialized.
Yeah, so that makes it an interesting question, because do you go your favorite rogue subclass generally, like you're the best generalist, and thus kind of set the niche ones to the side, or do you go for, in the right circumstance, this would be the best rogue to play?
Ironically, and it is ironic because usually, if you guys listen to the previous class podcasts, I say the opposite. I like the one I've played. I like Revived Rogue.
It's really good.
It's really neat.
It's really fun and cool.
Yeah. I could see myself playing another one later on in life. Now, obviously, I'd rather play something else, before
First,
then, but
there's so many good options.
yeah, but I really like Revived Rogue. I think it's super cool. Cat
has a hairball.
Yeah, that's all right. We'll talk over it. What about yourself, sir?
For me, I haven't actually played I've played a couple rogues.
You have.
But like for 1 and 2 sessions, not long. So for me, it's a DMing question or seeing other people play. I really like Revive Rogue. It's really cool.
It is.
But I think my favorite might be Soul Knife.
Hey, man, that's
because it's I feel like they've gotten a lot better over time at making rogue subclasses.
I agree. At making subclasses in general, they're much more open to going, all right, what's fun?
And Soul Knife is just fun. It's just well designed and fun, and it feels cool to DM for, so it must feel cool to play.
Sure. What about your least favorite?
I mean, it's probably Assassin.
Yeah.
It's niche and not well constructed. I can handle one or the other. Soul Knife isn't amazingly constructed itself because it's Unearthed Arcana, but it's niche and not well constructed.
I think at least their 3rd level and 17th level abilities are really good.
I mean, yeah, that's true.
So, like, I don't think it's that bad. It's down there for me, don't get me wrong, but
no, that's absolutely fair. I can see it not being someone's least favorite. It just is mine because there aren't really... It's probably the only one I would qualify as not bad, but certainly not one I would take.
Mine's got to be Inquisitive, just because it's so specific.
And
especially now.
Honestly, yeah, now more so, but
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I like Inquisitive a lot more because it gives you more tools in your toolbox in a way Assassin just doesn't.
No, and I agree with that. Like, there's a lot of it that's pretty covered well by other abilities or spells or what have you. Inquisitive intrigues me, and perhaps this is part of it. I would love to play a Sherlock Holmes-like character, a Batman-like character, someone who sees through the lies and can, predict how someone's going to fight. And it doesn't do it very well. I think it could do it better.
I think it does it really well. I honestly think the bigger problem is that you've already played that character so many times in other systems, you're tired of it.
Oh, I mean, maybe. And maybe I've played it in other systems who do it a bit more to my tastes. Or perhaps I play with large parties more these days, so it doesn't seem as useful. Yeah, but I don't hate it. I just, much like Assassin, I think it could be touched up. I think we could make this a little stronger. Like I said, giving a smaller version of their capstone at 1st level was not a bad idea. Especially since a lot of their stuff is so situational. Well, I stole your Master of Ceremonies duties. Let's move along. Tell me more.
Okay. As is usually the next thing, how would you subvert this if you were asked to play a rogue? You play a rogue, but you don't want to play a rogue to type. You want to subvert the class. How do you do it?
Well, in part, I'm doing it right now.
You very much are. You don't feel like a rogue.
No, she still feels like a ranger. But, I mean, you don't play the classic thiefy rogue. You don't play the brooding black, my parents are dead backstory, I'm going to kill you from the shadows rogue. It's really easy not to play a classic rogue. In the same sense, don't play the dashing swashbuckler. Don't play the Errol Flynn. Do, something else. Somebody who's... Sherlock is almost becoming another rogue archetype.
No, but, specifically, how would you do it?
How would I do it? I've got to do it again.
I think you're happy with Shira. You're happy with what you've done so far. You feel like that's a good way to subvert the rogue?
I think it is. I think there's also other ways, is really all there is to it. I think rogue is so versatile now that rogue no longer means thief. Especially with the way they do subclasses. We changed it to rogue years ago from thief. And that's mostly been set dressing until this edition. Mm-hmm. And now the rogue feels like, just sort of someone who fights dirty or maybe takes all the advantages they can get, as opposed to a thief who doesn't want to be called a thief. Lock Cole, treasure hunter.
Yeah. For me, I think you're right. There's so many different ways you can do it. I would honestly probably pick one of the subclasses and subvert that.
Yeah, that's true.
Instead of playing Sherlock Holmes, play the grizzled noir detective who is so fucking tired of all these stupid mysteries. And he's really good at solving them, but he's really upset that you're making him.
I like that.
Or instead of one of the other types of rogue, just play... Because there's nothing in there that requires you to actually be sneaky. You can just play a dude. just a dude who hits real hard.
Yeah, the rogue, if you don't want to go monk, the rogue is your best shot at a pugilist. You get some knuckle dusters and go at it, and it doesn't matter that they're only D4s or whatever.
Yeah,
you have sneak attack damage.
Mostly the sneak attack damage. Doesn't really matter what you're doing with the regular die.
You hit a guy your homie is within 5 feet of, and it's over, brother.
Yeah, just play a fucking... You know what? That's what I would do. I would play a street tough.
I
would play fucking Kuwabara.
There you go.
In that... So, reversing the question... You not necessarily subverting, but you have to play a new rogue. Not the one you're currently playing. Right. A new rogue, a new game. What's your go-to? What do you want to play?
Arcane Trickster's pretty good. I think I'd probably go with a Mastermind right now. Or a Scout. Depends on the campaign. There's a lot of imagery I like with the Mastermind, and if you look in Xanathar's Guide, where the Mastermind class is available, they use a lot of masks and like mirrors. And I played a character in Guild Wars 2. Is that the name of the game?
The one with the fungus people?
Yeah. Who was a mesmer who used illusion magic and was like just hard to pin down. And so I would probably take a couple of levels in Wizard just to get some spells to kind of do that. But mostly be a Mastermind rogue. Be, just, I am no one. And I will stop you by being everyone.
I like that. I like that. For me, all right, real talk, I might end up just playing, was it Delvin Mallory again?
He's been an NPC in basically every game of yours.
I really like that archetype.
No, I love him. He's a great character.
If I were asked to play a rogue right now, it would depend on the number of players in the campaign. Very sharply. If I'm playing like a 2 to 3 person campaign, I'd probably play an Inquisitive Rogue. If we're going to be doing stuff that an Inquisitive Rogue can exceed at.
Sure.
Anything more than that, I'd probably just play a Scout and fade back and just be a real fucking good rogue.
Yeah.
Just be bow guy.
Just be bow guy.
Just be bow man.
It's your natural inclination. Why fight it? That's the rogue. We're rolling along, guys. We only have 3 classes left, 4 to do if we do artificer.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and then we will get back to races this year. That's exciting, and I'm glad that our year of D&D has extended
to 2020.
2020, the year of the crits.
# double crit.
Yeah. So thank you all for joining us.
This has been super fun, and I'm really glad that I have turned around on this class because. It's nice to not be mad at one of the classes.
Sure, it's wonderful to look at all the tools in the tool chest and go,
yes, I can use these.
Yeah,
these are all good
stuff in here. I'm glad Sorcerer's next and not Warlock, so we can continue this positivity.
Oof! Everything's better when nerds talk about it. Fuck it.